Good afternoon, gentlemen, and a few of you ladies that may be listening. This is Spiritual Art of War back at it again with another episode. And this time we're going to talk about Michael Porter Jr., the NBA player, formerly of the Denver Nuggets and currently with the Brooklyn Nets. As some of you may know that keep up with sports, that he was part of a trade that did land him over in Brooklyn. And recently he had addressed, one of the reasons why he felt like he struggled the last 2 to 3 years with Denver. And he said it was because he has a weakness for women. And interestingly enough, he did do a podcast like a year or two ago where he was talking with a former mattress actress about, how, men in the league, get down when it comes to women. And as you know, some of you that may know who this mattress actress is, she has a child with an NBA player who's put a gag order on her to not mention him, just due to the embarrassment that it would be for him and really for that son that they had. Now, this should not be surprising that a young man would have problems with women. And here's one of the things that why I'm addressing this is because there was a content creator, and I'm not going to name his name, but he has a fairly big platform, over 100,000 followers, and he was addressing, the comments or statements made by Michael Porter Jr. And when I always like to go into the comments just to see how the average person thinks. And what I realize is that a lot of these people out here that are criticizing Michael Porter Jr. For him struggling with women, they've never even been exposed to the kind of lifestyle and the kind of access to the most beautiful woman in the world that he has. And I think a lot of people that are in America that look at celebrities a certain way, you think that they have some kind of like superpower to control their urges, just like you, when you really are not getting any woman hollering at you. See, even what people don't understand about even the NBA, especially NBA, in the NBA, the role players, the guys that are not like all stars, the ones that don't got as much pressure on them to be a franchise player, those guys actually are the ones that get the most kitty cat. Okay? They see more cat than SPCA, bruh, than an animal shelter. Because the thing about it is they just are role players, so they just got to report in shape, keep their game sharp. Usually, you see journeymen, they just work on their jumper. And their b-ball IQ just increases over time because they've seen so many different things. So as long as they keep in shape and their jumper stays wet, then they're good. They don't have to worry about leading a team and having all that other pressure. And a lot of times they're not ambassadors of the different brands to where they got to do a lot of brand stuff. They got to travel to China and this country and that country to promote whatever sneaker that they have. They don't have these big commercials and things like that. So they collecting what people would consider little money for NBA standards, but it's big money to normal people standards. A guy like Michael Porter Jr. is going to be collecting $30 to $40 million salaries every year till he's 35. Okay? As long as he doesn't have a catastrophe of an injury. Because he's 6'10", can shoot the ball, and he can finish around the rim. Like, that's just what it is, okay? And let's keep it real. You are not in the NBA. You are not 6'10", light skinned with millions of dollars. I'm gonna repeat that again. Those of you that are criticizing Michael Porter Jr., you're not in the NBA, 6'10", light skinned with millions of dollars. In the age of social media. Do you know what this man's DMs look like? He's not even DMing these chicks. They DMing him. Can you imagine what they're sending him in those DMs? So you can imagine the kind of temptation that's going on. And you got to remember, these girls are very slick. They know that, the Denver Nuggets is traveling to Houston. And these girls know, I follow Michael Porter. They keep in schedule. Okay, like Andre Three Stacks said, these girls are smart. These girls are smart. Keep your heart, Three Stacks. Keep your heart. These women will wait for you to show up on a road trip with your team and will start sending you them in nothing in the DM. Okay? Some of these guys have women that they've already linked with prior, so they already got an attachment to them on a sexual level. And so now he coming into town, getting ready to play the Rockets, and all he can think about is the 5 baddies in the city that to message him saying, they in town, they ready. Or, hey, do you got tickets for me? You want to link up before the game? When are y'all flying out so I can see you before you leave? Bro, I don't want them temptations, bro. Listen, this is the reason why there's levels to even a spiritual walk. There are certain things that you do not really want to have access to because you wouldn't even be able to walk with the Lord because you wouldn't be able to handle it. You couldn't carry that cross. And this man is actually trying. He's known as someone who grew up like in a Christian home. And, his family was very known for, being heavy into basketball. He comes from a family with a bunch of athletes. And, he has some, of course, if some of you know his story about his family and some of the mishaps of his brothers. Okay, so he's like pretty much the last one standing. And he is continuing the torch. Of course, he was the most talented out of all of them. Michael Porter Jr. has been known since he was 14 years old. And nationally, by the time he was 16, he was considered one of the top prospects in the country and was surefire going to be an NBA, to where people were comparing him to Kevin Durant. That's who people thought he was going to be. But we know it's hard. But at the end of the day, it ain't like he's a slouch. It ain't like he's not a big-time contributor to one of the reasons why they won a title. So he's still a great NBA player. He's still young. He's going to be starting. And he can still change the trajectory of his career if he gets focused. So it's not like he can't be an all-star in the East this coming up season if he stays focused with what he is capable of doing. So, but in regards to his situation with women, this is bro, I'm telling you, some of you guys listening, I know we talk about women. You don't want them type of problems, bro. I don't think you understand that being a Michael Porter Jr. in 2025, you are in trouble, man. Like Bernie Mac said, trouble, trouble. You are in trouble, bro. Because these women are aggressive. They coming after you, all angles. And if they find you they already know you're an NBA player, then you 6'10", then they might find you even attractive. So meaning, even if you wasn't even an NBA, if you just 6'10" and light skin, in shape, you could put that man in any city in the US he pulling. You see what King 6'8" the Great is doing, and he ain't no NBA player. Okay? He could be the light-skinned version of him if he wanted to, without being an NBA player. So you're talking about all these different things that he got rocking for himself. And you got, men love beautiful women. Men, that is a major, major thing that men like, more than probably anything. Okay? Even in the Bible, the 1611, the Sirach, a beautiful woman, a man loves nothing better. A man loves nothing better than a beautiful woman on earth. And we talking about, this is like a main driving force as to why men do what they do. It's always like a subconscious driving force for men, for a lot of men, not for men that are spiritually minded, but for most men on the earth, that is a driving force. Especially when you're a young man, you hit your testosterone, that becomes a major issue. And imagine you're an in-shape young man with access to all these women and all the money. You got money where it's nothing for you to fly them in. Boom. Get them a ticket, they fly in. You send them back home. That's nothing. That's like you spending 50 cents. That's like pocket change to you. A quarter inside the couch. And you know you can get them. And you know they on go as soon as they touch down. So a lot of these guys out here criticizing Michael Porter Jr. I don't even envy him. I don't envy him. Some of you guys in the comments and some of these guys out here, y'all will envy a guy like him. I don't envy him. I don't want them problems. Okay? I don't want it like that. Any of you guys in the comments, if you want it like that, then you probably have a whole different trajectory of how you look at the world, and you're gonna be like the next Shannon Sharp or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't understand that these women are big game hunting. They want the big fish. Okay? When they go into the ocean, they ain't looking for the guppies. They're looking for the killer whale. They going after the big fish. So you think it's easy. That's a lot of trappings right there. Women trying to trap you for clout, trying to get you in civil suits, okay? Trying to get a baby out of you, trying to get you to put your guard down to where you might even marry them. They take half. Have you losing over $100 million like Michael Jordan did, or like Tiger Woods? So you got a lot of you out here that are like, oh man, he need to stay focused, man. That's hard. Now, I look at it like this. I remember one of the things he said in one of his past interviews about how the women are really not interested in the men, against the athletes, that they're really looking for the lifestyle. So that's one of the issues with someone like Michael Porter Jr. If he's on a spiritual walk and journey and he thinks he can remain single and not have a woman, not get married, and I don't mean legally married, I'm talking about married in terms of the ancient way, the way that they used to do before people started thinking marriage was a piece of paper. But if he doesn't get him his own woman that's going to control his urges, that can balance him out, then he's going to continue to have this struggle. But but at the same time, he's thinking about the fact that he doesn't want to commit to a woman that would then, use other means. Because remember, Shannon Sharp was in a relationship with that Gabriela Zuniga chick. They were actually in a relationship. And then she claimed that she was SA'd and then tried to then get a out-of-court settlement, and it went public, and the rest is history. So these things happen to these players. You don't think they saw what happened to Shannon Sharp and talking about it, or what's going on with Diddy, or if they get down like that, I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. So they know that being visible, rich in this age is a whole different ballgame. There's a lot of people have ulterior motives. So he's kind of between a rock and a hard place. Do you try and stay the path in your walk and shun woman and focus on your craft as a basketball player? Or do you go and get married and then roll the dice on that situation? Because in between for him is not working clearly. It's not working for him to try and see if he can do without a woman, only for him to slip back in and then, run through some woman. And the woman that he has access to, listen, there's some women that y'all haven't even seen before. Y'all think y'all know who all the women are that are the baddies. Y'all think y'all seen them. Y'all think it's just Brittany Renner and a handful of these other girls and a couple of girls of these these rappers, these girls. Come on. You think it's just that. I mean, I remember even having a conversation some time ago with somebody, and he was like talking about some of the IG models, and it was like females that was like not even like the creme de la creme in terms of IG models. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was almost kind of like laughing because he showed me something. It was like some older woman, and she was just, she just had a BBL, but it was like, she had a bunch of followers, but it was like, bro, I was like, you haven't really seen what's really out there. I just kind of like shrugged. I was like, yeah, bro, that's just regular, bro. That's just regular what's out there. And one day he came, one day, he's an older gentleman. One day he was like, man, you heard of the girl called the Cake Queen? heard this girl called the Cake Queen? I started laughing. I said, yeah, I know exactly who you found. Now imagine if the Cake Queen slide in the DMs of Michael Porter Jr. You think he's going to be able to say no? How many of y'all going to say no to the Cake Queen? Okay? Y'all going to be like a fat kid. Y'all going to love that cake. That's going to be 97, 98% of y'all. So, only a few men have built up, enough of the self-control over that desire to where they can turn down a dime that's ready on go. There's only a small percentage of men that are capable of doing that. See, the men that know they're not capable of probably doing that, they prefer to be not highly visible to where a woman like that would pursue them. Okay? Because these women that are at that level, that dime status level, they know who they are. And they are who they are, meaning they know that they walk anywhere in a room, they hop up in the gym, they know everything, eyeballs is on them until they leave. They know this. They know when they go to a club, when they go to a venue, when they go to an event, that all eyes is on her. They know who they are. They know the levels that they are. They know, okay, this chick is the baddest in the room. I'm probably a little bit, under her and the other girls under me. Like, they calibrate that stuff. They know. So when you get those type of women in DMs, then you can probably, and you're turning it down, then you could probably have a little bit more room for criticism. But I'm kind of have a little bit of empathy for them. Like, hey, that's like that's like Satan. That's like Satan's, special forces is a woman. Okay? As a woman that he can turn on you. Look what happened with Adam and Eve. So that's a heavy burden right there. Okay? I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. So, I look at it like he's going to have to make that decision. Because if let's say he has enough self-control to where when he's on the road, he's not going to entertain these women because he's got a good enough woman at home to where he's able to control himself until he gets back to her. And remember that this is a monogamous society. He's a Christian, so he ain't thinking about getting 2 or 3 wives. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that would be different because it won't really work until he's retired. Because if it doesn't make sense to have 2 or 3 wives and you're in the league when at the end of the day your wives are still going to be at the same city together, probably living under a big old mansion estate that you have. So you're still going to have to wait till you get back to deal with your wives if you have multiple. So if he just has one, can that hold him over? I think he has to ask himself that. And then you got to find the type of woman that would make sense. And also, for him, he doesn't want to, I think it's like he said in the video, he said that he feels like the reason why he hasn't gotten a wife yet because he has to overcome his lust battle for a woman. So he wouldn't want it to affect his marriage. So I think that's kind of, that's a mature way of looking at things, because if you're a man and you're really not ready to build with a woman and you know yourself, don't bring a woman in to where you're going to destroy her because you lack self-control on your end. You know what I'm saying? Where you might end up, sneaking around, because that's what a lot of these guys do. They get the side chicks, sneaking around because you're not man enough to openly say that you are practicing polygyny. So then you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to secretly have this side chick. And then when she find out, you're just being dishonest. And that's going to hurt her more than if you told her up front from the get-go and told her that you would be at some point possibly adding a second wife. And if you're not cool with that, then we can't be together. And then you can hold her to it in some form or fashion. You might have to do like a contractual agreement, some kind of statement, notarized statement that a witness that she agreed to that. I don't know. America's a very funny place legally, A lot of things get thrown out. A lot of stuff is irrelevant and doesn't matter, all the time. But, in his case, he may have to consider getting him a woman. And if I was to, there's some women out there. I've noticed, even some of the female track athletes outside of Sha'Carri Richardson, but some of the ones that run like the longer distance, like the 400 or 400-meter hurdles, I've seen some of those women. They're locked down. They're married. Some women are locked down or in serious relationships. Anna Cockrell is one I could think about, and Sydney McLaughlin, who's like probably the GOAT female track athlete of this era right now, But yeah, there's options out there. I'm pretty sure. See, what's up with the Christian church, man? How come he ain't got an option there that he can rely on? What's up with the Christian church? That's an inside joke, man. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next episode.